The following BLTV program is brought to you by O'Flaherty Law. Please enjoy.
Welcome to Learn About Law. My name is Kevin O'Flaherty from O'Flaherty Law, and today we're going to talk about estate planning. We're going to explain what you can expect to accomplish with a proper estate plan. And believe me, it's much more than just estate tax avoidance. An estate plan is really appropriate for anybody. The main documents in an estate plan are a revocable living trust, possibly a will, healthcare and financial powers of attorney, and possibly a living will. They all do different things, and you should meet with an attorney to discuss what is appropriate for your situation. But we typically recommend revocable living trust for anyone who owns real estate or anyone who has more than $100,000 of non-real estate assets. The reason we do this is that if you have those types of assets, any real estate at all, even a condo that's underwater or more than $100,000 of non-real estate assets, if you have those types of assets and you don't have them in a revocable living trust when you pass away, chances are your estate's going to go through a probate case. Probate is very expensive and can suck a lot of the value of the estate out of the estate into attorney's fees and into court costs and away from your loved ones. It also takes about a year, so your loved ones don't get access to your assets for about a year at a time when they probably need them very badly. And it also is a major hassle, so your loved ones have to file reports, deal with attorneys for a year while this probate case is going on. So the good news is that if you have a revocable living trust and you transfer some of those assets, some of your assets to your trust during your lifetime, you can avoid probate altogether and your loved ones can get immediate access to your assets without even having to hire an attorney or go through really any hassle at all. All they have to do is show up with something called a small estate affidavit saying that probate isn't necessary because there's a trust, a copy of the trust, and a copy of your death certificate to your financial institutions, and they'll be able to immediately dispose of your assets and transfer them to the appropriate people that you name in your trust. So that's the big thing that we want to accomplish with an estate plan. And when you do that with a revocable living trust, if you're not worried about probate, if you don't have any real estate, or if you have less than $100,000, actually really you need both, no real estate and less than $100,000, then a will is an appropriate way to make sure that the people you care about get your assets and your assets are disposed in the way that you want them to be disposed of. Next, let's talk about powers of attorney. Powers of attorney are a different animal. So far, we've talked about what happens when you pass away. Now we talk about what happens if you become mentally incompetent but are still alive. A financial power of attorney can name somebody to make financial decisions on your behalf if you're no longer able to do so. A healthcare power of attorney names someone to make healthcare and other life decisions on your behalf if you're no longer able to do so. So why do we go through the effort of putting these in place while we're still mentally competent? The reason is that once you become mentally incompetent, it's too late to execute these forms. And if you don't have them executed, then your loved ones will have to go through an expensive, time-consuming, and stressful guardianship proceeding, which is a court case where they get to be named your guardian and appointed to make those decisions. The bad part about that, in addition to the initial proceeding, they'll have to file a report with the court every year and hire an attorney and go back into court and use your assets to deal with that on an annual basis. So really, the biggest bang for your buck in an estate plan is to get these powers of attorney documents that make the guardianship proceeding unnecessary. So last, we'll talk about a living will. A living will is nothing like what you think of when you think of a will. It's basically an end-of-life document. And it's something that if you have a living will in your medical file, it tells the doctor to terminate life support if you are in a irreversible coma. So it's not if you're really, really sick, but basically if the doctor thinks you're brain dead and there's 0% chance of you coming out of an irreversible coma, the doctor's instructed to terminate life support. Otherwise, your next of kin or whoever you've named as your healthcare agent on your power of attorney would make that decision. A couple of reasons people do a living will. One is they don't want to put the emotional burden of pulling the plug on their loved ones. Another reason is they don't want to drain the family's finances to keep them on life support. Third reason might be because they just physically don't want to be left in a coma for years on end. There's no right answer on whether to have a living will. Everything else, revocable trust, will, powers of attorney, I can say, yes, these will help you. No, they won't. Living will is a very personal choice, and it really is something that you may want to discuss with your family beforehand. So that's what a good estate plan looks like. For anyone that owns their home, a revocable living trust, possibly a will in addition to the trust, and we have videos explaining that in more detail, why you might want both. Healthcare, financial power of attorney, and possibly a living will, depending on what your end-of-life wishes are. We have a lot more videos and articles at learn-about-law.com about estate planning. This is kind of supposed to be a 101 overview to let you know what the very, very basics are of why you would even think about estate planning. But if you want to learn about special needs planning, estate tax avoidance, a little bit more about how trusts or wills work, guardianship avoidance, you can, or protection of your assets from creditors, you can check out many more videos and articles on our website. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for watching our video. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Click the subscribe button for new videos every week and download and review us on iTunes. Visit learn-about-law.com for other legal-related articles and videos. Visit our business podcast and video blog, seizeyourbusiness.com, and visit makingrealestatefun.com for real estate videos and podcasts. Call us at 630-324-6666 for a free consultation. Thanks for watching.